Hi, I'm the Craft Geek, and today we're going to make some slopers so that we can do some patterns for Barbie, and I can show my niece how to do some sewing. So we're starting out with our center front and our center back. So we're just going to tape both of those ends down. And next we're going to work on the bust. And so right across the apex or the highest point of the bust, we're going to mark that and tape it down. And then we're just going to wrap that thread right on around to the back side and meet at the center back. Now this tape I was using, it was not good tape. But notice how we're keeping everything nice and parallel. So we want to keep things parallel and straight and tape it in place. And like I said, we're going to bring it right on back around to the center back. So you should end up with something like similar to this. Okay. And now we're going to move down to the waistline, and so we want to make that line at the smallest point of the waist. And we want to make it parallel to our bust and perpendicular to our center front and center back. And so we're going to tape that in place. And I swear, working with this tape this tape was not good. Yeah, don't use that cheap tape. Use your Scotch, your 3M, because it just wasn't sticking. It was getting on my nerves. So we're gonna bring that right around to the center back like we did the bust. Okay. And so now we're gonna do our hips, and we wanna place that tape at the widest part of the hips. All right, and we just want to make sure we get that nice and straight. So we want it parallel to our waist and bust and perpendicular to our center front and center back. And really pressing that tape down and trying to make it stay in place. It was really not trying to work with the girl. And we're just going to flip her on over and make sure we get her to the back side. And so your hip line should be nice and marked, okay? Okay. And so now we're going to do our side seam. And I love how this bathing suit, oh no, I guess I'm just going to skip to the neck. And so this was the hardest part too, because the tape didn't want to come off my finger and stay on the thread, and the thread stay in the place I wanted it. So took a couple of tries, but you get the gist of what I was doing. So we attached that. Put your tape in place, put your thread in place and tape it down for your collar. Like where would you see like a t-shirt collar? That's where I kind of used it for her. And Barbie is like real easy to me on where to put that neckline, like how to place it. It was pretty cool, easy. But this tape was not easy at all. Oh God, it was like a clinky ex-boyfriend that didn't want to just leave. Bye. Go, vamos. So the second tape was way better because it was stickier. So I finally did get the neck done. And then once I got the neck done, I clipped off the little extra tape there. And then see how you have Barbie's pretty easy because you got your shoulder seam right there. Perfect. So we're just gonna put that thread in place and tape it down and cut off the excess, which is just a smidge. And that laid down for me nicely. And see how we laid down that side seam I was talking about earlier? And with this particular doll, the bathing suit dolls, the two-tone bathing suit dolls, it works out perfectly because the color split right at the side seam. And you just bring that right on down to the hip. You just want to tape it in place. And cut off your little excess. And tape it on down in place. Okay. And so then, once we get that taped into place, we are going to move along to our arm skull or your armhole. And so we don't want to put our style line right in her armpit, like right underneath. And so we're going to move that around a little bit. I had to adjust that a little bit, but we're going to tape that in. And once we get that in place, we're going to work on our French seam. So as you see, that line right there, that piece of thread, I just taped from the middle of the shoulder seam down to the apex of the bust. We're going to tape that in place. And then we're going to go from the bust point to the waist. And then from the waist to the hips, we're going to bring it on down. And it falls pretty naturally in place. And so, damn tape. All right, boom. And bring it down from the waist down to the hip line. Okay. And so we got all of them in place. And we cut our little extra little thread off and whatnot. Now what's funny is once I put these style lines on here, I grabbed some of my white see-through, basically muslin, and when I put it up against her, I really couldn't see the red, so it was like, oh my God, I gotta flip this around. So we went ahead and we redid her in black. So the black came out neater, as well as I can see through it. So stay tuned for part 2.